My name is Tomislav Jerkovic. I am a guest teacher here at Word of Life Bible Institute. I teach Haggai and Zechariah. I've also taught some classes in the New Testament. I am from Germany. I was born and raised in Germany, but my father came from Croatia. Both my parents were nominal Catholics, so I knew that there was a God even as a child. But I never had a personal relationship with God. My parents divorced when I was still young, and I grew up with my mother as an only child. For me, there was some anger in me because I didn't have a father. I felt left behind and lost. But I did hear about God. There was a kids club that I went to for sports, but they also told me about Jesus and about God. And there was a seed planted in my heart that stayed with me. It wasn't until a few years later when I was a teenager and I was even more upset. There were things inside of me that were ugly. I was getting into fights in school with other boys and I was lost. But at that time, I remembered to call out to God and He answered my prayer. He came in my life and I realized that He would be a father to me that I never had. He showed me His love. And I felt His love. I started reading His Word, especially in the New Testament and in the entire Bible. And He comforted me. He gave me an inner peace that I could not imagine. I was seeking something and He gave it to me. And that changed my life as a teenager. After that, I had much more hope and strength and joy in life. It wasn't until a few years later that I found a Christian fellowship. I prayed to God and said, are there other people that I can share this with? And then He opened some doors and I was invited to a youth group of a free evangelical church in Germany. Once I got there, I realized immediately this was what I had been looking for. A fellowship with other Christian believers, where we shared about our faith, where we talked about the Bible, where we prayed together, where we sang together. And I grew. I was baptized there, and I learned to live with God and to walk with Jesus. Now, after I finished high school and I did a social year, God put it on my heart to learn more about Him and to go to Bible school. And so I went to Bible school and I learned about Him. I did an internship in Croatia. And I learned about ministry there, about camp ministry, about church planting. And God used that experience in my life to call me to ministry. I was already married at that time, and my wife and I, we both sensed the Lord leading us into full-time ministry. We went to our church and asked our elders about this, and they prayed, and the congregation, there was a meeting, talked about this, and to us it was a great confirmation to have the church also see God leading us into full-time ministry. That was a big help and a confirmation that God was with us. Then, through various circumstances, God opened the door for us to do also a master's degree at Dallas Theological Seminary. And both my wife and I were able to study there and finish our studies. During that time, we met some friends who were students there from the Ukraine. And they had invited us to come and see their country and consider serving God there. And God used that to put this desire on our hearts. And we visited, and He confirmed this calling that we were serving there for a little over 2 years in the western part of Ukraine, teaching at a Bible school and also serving in a local church. Now, at that point, there was also a challenge that came up in our lives because our third child was born. We went back to Germany as a family for that, and there were some health complications and issues, and that made it impossible for us to go back to Ukraine. And this time, there was something that kind of broke in me. I was disappointed and sad because I wanted to serve God, and yet He was closing a door that I had expected. But I had to learn and grow through this experience, to learn that sometimes God's ways are different than my ways, to listen to Him and to depend on Him. And He led us through this valley that took a couple of years, and then He gave us new opportunities for ministry to serve Him. And we are very grateful for that. He didn't let us down, but in His grace, He gave us His hand and He led us through this valley. And now we have been serving God as missionaries in Germany and Europe for a good number, for many years now. And He is with us and He's faithful. And I want to encourage you to trust the Lord and to also depend on Him. Even when sometimes things get rough, things don't work out the way we hope to still rely on the Lord and to walk with Him through those valleys. And He will give you new opportunities to walk with Him, to live with Him, and to serve Him as well. So thank you and God bless you.